Hello everybody. I am in the process of continuing to create what I hope is a good healthy stockpile of machines as we get into a heavier sewing season. Many people sew during the summer, but a lot of people take the summers off. And this past summer, I had a stockpile of machines getting ready for winter, and they sold a little early. So I've been working hard to get more machines restored and ready for those of you who will be doing more sewing now that the weather has gotten colder and kids are back in school, etc. And what you are looking at is one of the machines that I love to find when I can find it, and then put it through the restoration process so that it's ready to sew again. This is a Necchi Nora. And the Nora, some of the Necchi machines, many of them were named with ladies' names. This is an Italian-made Necchi, and all of the sewing machine brands that I like to select out for restoration, whether I think that they are worthy of that has a lot to do with both the model and also the year of production. For the Necchi company was actually, I believe, founded in the 30s as an industrial sewing maker. But they got into the domestic market in the late 1940s. So from around 1948 to about 1960, the Necchis that were made in Italy during that time are some of the finest machines that you really will ever see. And you can go on the internet and you'll find others who love them as much as I do. This is the second Necchi I've had in recent times, in the last year or so, that is aesthetically in beautiful shape. Its paint is almost perfect. You may have seen a BU Mira in sage green that was recently sold, but it doesn't really affect the operation of the machine. So if you find a machine that's got scratches and scuffs, it can be an amazing machine. So don't let that deter you. But it's kind of fun to see one that's sort of like a time capsule, like it was, basically maybe someone didn't like to sew very much. I don't know. But anyway, in the posting on Craigslist, you're going to see the list of all of the things I did to the machine. As soon as I finish the video, I'll be creating that post. And I'll itemize and provide for you lots of photographs of all the restoration work, because when a sewing machine is collectible, and if you find one, you really need to have it gone through fully, not just sort of cleaned at a glance. It really needs to have all of the systems inspected, taken apart, and really given the tune-up that it needs, because these are real machines. They're made of all metal, and they need to have service, and then they are ready to do some amazing things. So this machine is capable of both straight and zigzag. Necchi was the first to the market with zigzag. This was the next generation of Necchis after machines like the Nova and the Mira that I've sold quite a few of. But this machine is one in which they added decorative stitching, and they did it with little cams. And I'm going to actually start today. I don't often get a chance in my long rambling videos to do this, and I will show some straight, some zigzag. But I want you guys to see, for those of you who actually want to do decorative stitches sometimes, you can do them, and you can do them with a vintage machine. You do not need a new computerized machine for this. So I'm going to start. I just done a row of them, and I'll turn around, and I'll pull this sample up like I do in all the videos so you folks can actually see. I'll give you a close-up view of the stitch quality, which is really good. This is a medium weight cotton fabric that I'm using. I use these remnants until they're gone. This was part of I think a pair of draperies, and I bought it at a thrift store to sort of downcycle it. And I've actually done one decorative stitch, and there's about 11 or 12. I think there's like 11 stitch patterns you can pick from here. But I'm actually going to change the cam out, which is very easy. I'm going to pull this little hatch up. I'm going to pull the cam out, and then I am going to switch over to another pattern that you guys will see in just a sec. Okay, guys, I wanted to go ahead and change out the cam, and I put in another cam specifically, not just to show a different design, but this one's really important. Sometimes I get people who will say, hey, I like to alter clothing. I like to alter trousers, for example, and I need a blind stitch, which is a very common way to hem trousers. And you can do it. You do not have to have a new computerized machine in order to do a blind stitch. This machine has, as one of its stitch options, a blind stitch cam. just like it looks just like the other decorative cams, but it does blind stitching. So for those of you who would find blind stitching useful, this is one way to do it. Now I'm going to take that back out, and when I take the cam out, it looks like just like a little disc. It's like a little disc with a pattern on it. So I'm going to put my cam hatch back down. I'm going to move my needle position back to center, and then I'm going to come over and, of course, do some straight stitching for you folks. And I'll be starting with long here. And, of course, back tacking is easily done. And then I'll come over and I'll do a zigzag stitch for you guys. And zigzag is also very easy to set up. I'm just simply going to move this lever over, and I'll do it all the way over so we can get a kind of a nice wide zigzag. Very quiet. Necchis tend to run, you know, they vary depending on the design of the machine, but they tend to run quieter than a lot of designs, and that's because, or a lot of brands, and that's because of how they were engineered. Let's see here. I want to move. I'm going to move over here because I want to have some. I think I want to have some space for a different zigzag. I'm going to show you guys one of the amazing zigzags that a Necchi is known for, and it has a lot to do with the embroidery look of its zigzag and satin stitch when you get the stitch nice and short. So I'm going to come here. I'm going to shorten my stitch way over and get all the way to really short. And I've got wide here. And we'll come down and we'll see how she does. And on this Necchi, I have two speed controls. I can go fast or slow. I'm going on sort of the lower speed control. I get a little more needle control that way, but it will go faster. Now let's see if we can turn around here, and I'll show you yet another look of this zigzag. And you'll see that satin stitch embroidered look that I was talking about. By the way, a lot of these decorative stitches that you have the capability to do with a machine like this, they were often called embroidery stitches because they mimic the look of embroidery really beautifully. Now what I'll do is I'm going to go up to maximum speed, and you'll notice a significant change in the speed. I can't sew this fast, but some of you might. So you have the option. It's really up to you. And of course I can even slow it down when it's on maximum speed. Now, I'll take this out and let you folks see all of this stuff I've been doing and talking about here. This is the first decorative stitch I had done. You see sort of like a scallop. And of course you can change the scallop if you shorten. You can control the width and the length of that. Let's turn around down here. I wanted you to see the straight stitches, which of course I always show on my machines. And then you'll see sort of a long zigzag. And then back over to this side, you'll see more zigzagging, and then that satin-like zigzag. I had to actually stitch over one of my scallops here. And then here, let's see, where did here it is. Right here, I want you to see that blind stitch, because that's, again, some of you don't need this, but some of you like to do hemming, and if you're a sort of a mender or you like to alter garments, then blind stitch is a really useful thing for you. And I'm going to do a couple more fabrics for you, just to show the range. Sometimes I may overemphasize heavy fabric sometimes, but so many of you who contact me about my machines are looking for something that is heavier duty than most of the new machines, which are really just, a lot of the new plastic machines are just not strong. And what we're going to do is I'm going to be going over some blue jean denim. It's going to have, it's good heavyweight Levi's denim, and then it will also have, of course, the blue jean seams, which are known to be quite dense. Let's see here, I'm going to come here and I'm going to come over to minimum. I've got sort of, I'm going to go back to straight stitch. which again is just a matter of turning a little knob here. And now I'm back on straight. And I'm going to go to long, because the long stitches will show up better for all of you than the short ones will. And you'll notice it rolled right over that seam. Now, sometimes if you have a lot of pressure on that foot, you know, sometimes you'll see some binding and you'll want to adjust that, but the machine is so powerful. Most Neckis, and this one included, come with a 1.1 amp motor, incredibly strong. Let's pull this up and I will show all of you. This machine comes in a really nice maple cabinet, and some of the Neckis, including this one, have like a little sort of a, it's got 15 inches measured out for like a measuring straight edge. You can also use this machine. Some of the Neckis are not set up this way, but in this particular setup, they were copying Singer. You can use the foot pedal, which I have right here, and this is the button style. Necchi copied Singer, so you rest your foot and you turn it here. But you can also put this pedal, there's a little bracket and it slides right in, and you can put it in there, and you can use this with knee control if you like. Some of you have a preference. People vary in terms of what they like. So, but you have that option. I just want to mention that. Okay, let's take a look at my Denim Sewing here. And you'll see that the machine has beautiful stitches. Notice the stitches stay straight and they do not lose tension as they come across a pretty darn dense seam. And you know, good sewing machine should do this. And you'll see the other side. And let's see, last but not least, I'm going to, and I do this primarily because I get so many people who want to sew, they want to sew projects with leather. And I always answer this question, I say this in almost every video, that it depends on the leather you're sewing. The leather that can be sewn with a a vintage, heavy-duty domestic sewing machine is garment leather, okay? This is leather that is about as thick as that for a wallet, right? You notice that I can wiggle it like this. It's considered lightweight, and it's not so much the thickness, because the thickness is well over 1/8 of an inch here, probably, yeah, it's over 1/8 of an inch. But technically you want leather that's flexible. You don't want stiff stuff. And if you'll stick with something like this and install a leather-tipped needle, you can sew leather. The machine will do it for you. And I will start again here with a nice long straight stitch, which should show up pretty well on this. And I can go faster, but when you're sewing anything like leather, which has a different density than fabric, even the lightweight leather does, I like to go a little slower, give the needle time to do what it needs to do. The machine is very powerful, but you don't want your machine to get ahead of your needle. And needles, I've got Oregon brand titanium needle here. It's the finest quality I can find, but you know, you don't want to ask it to be a racehorse on something like leather. So let's take a look at what the machine gave us here. And what you will see is some really beautiful stitches. That's, like I say, 2 layers of garment leather. And this is with a fabric needle. If you're going to do a lot of garment leather sewing, just put in a leather tip needle. You can get them at any sewing shop, and they're for home machines. I mean, they're totally compatible, but they just make the machine's job a little easier. You might also want to use a roller foot on occasion. So again, you're looking at a machine that was designed in an era where things were designed to be serviced, okay? And the quality of the engineering in the machine is just unparalleled. No one makes a home sewing machine of this level quality. And honestly, straight stitch, which is all I ever use in my own sewing, is all I need. If you need zigzag, you have it. And then for those of you who want to use decorative stitches on occasion, or maybe you just need to do some blind hemming, you can do it on a machine like this. And again, this is heirloom quality, and it's ready to go. So if you have any questions, please feel free to email me at the Craigslist posting. And I put a lot of information in my post because I want you guys to see all of the work and the hours that are involved in getting one of these machines ready. Once that's been done, if you'll keep your feed dogs clean and keep the machine oiled with every project, that's really all you should have to do. But I appreciate you watching. And